Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Proto Man here, once again, and I'm back for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Metroid 2, Return of Samus for the Game Boy. So, last time we have basically managed able to kill 3 Alpha Metroids, and also we did manage able to come across into our familiar beam power-up, which appears to be the Wave Beam, which I forgot to mention about something is the fact that unlike the forms of how it does it on the original game, where it just feels kind of alright in the original game, whilst in this game this time around though, it was actually like, well, pretty useful this time around. So I guess that makes it a little bit obvious for the sake of like trying to deal with more enemies super easily and stuff like that with all the crazy shenanigans as far as you can definitely see on screen. And on top of that, we did manage able to grab even more missile expansions, and also we've got ourselves another energy tank to spare, so we can pretty much guarantee we can able to explore some more areas throughout, whilst we did somehow manage able to get started with the forms of Phase 3, despite the fact that we've only killed 3 of those Alpha Metroids, but hopefully we'll continue more progressioning for Phase 3 before we move on to the next phase. So, yeah, speaking of which though, stats today for this video is the fact that hopefully we're able to actually move on to the next phase, which appears to be Phase 4, if depending on time length. So, in this case though, we can pretty much expect how this is going. So, before we get into more details onto this though, as you can see, we've managed able to come across into this particular section right here, which actually leads us to, what else? Even more missile expansions. So, yeah, I guess that pretty much summarizes it such. And also, about the fact that today's date is, of course, it is the 18th of October today, in this case in 2022 today. I can't believe by saying this, but it's been about 5 years ago since when more gameplay footage has been shown for the sake of Mario Party the Top 100, which I remember back in the day. Well, that was roughly the same day as when we used to go into On Abroad, called Turkey, and that happened during exactly the same time as when Mario Party the Top 100 more gameplay footage has been shown for specific, well, you know what I mean, after that particular trailer has been shown up, after the, a month later since when it first announced, back in September 2017 Direct, despite the fact that that was on the 3DS as opposed to the Switch, so. But anyways, here's another Alpha Metroid right here, so we can just once again take him down. So in this case though, we can pretty much just use missiles again. So anyway though, because good thing about it though, despite I haven't touched upon the top 100 for some time now, but I mean, let's face it though, is the fact that obviously a lot of people seem to play Superstars right now, like everyone has been playing Mario Party Superstars 24/7 when it comes to online play and stuff like that, because, well, you know what I mean, because unlike the top 100 though, that the top 100 has no online function, so because of this though, it might be seems kind of a waste of opportunity for the sake of like, well, I don't know what you call it, because again, it has been a very long time since I actually known about the forms of the top 100 for Mario Party games from the start, because, well, potentially speaking, it's been almost like 5 years ago, so basically it's just, well, not much else to tell. So, oh, and another thing too is the fact that I think we've only got about roughly 2 days to go for the likes of Mario plus Rapid Sparks of Hope will be releasing on the Switch. So even then though, yeah, looking forward to that. Although originally, I was expecting to originally try to able to mention something more related to the forms of the Super Mario Bros. Teaser trailer movie. But I think that particular conversation will be delayed until specifically this coming Thursday, which I'll save that conversation until whenever when Mario plus Rapid Sparks of Hope will eventually come out until 2 days time. So because of that though, yeah, not long now until we basically guarantee that we've almost got the entire package of 2017 Part 2 when it comes to certain Nintendo Switch titles. Well, the only couple of exceptions are the new 3D Mario game and also, let's just say, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, just because Tears of the Kingdom has been, you know, now being released on 2023. So, yeah, that's saying something, so. And there's another Alpha Metroid right here, so we can pretty much expect that we can able to just kick his butt again. Although, something to keep in mind, if you dare fall off into these little weird stuff down there, I believe you get hit. So, yeah, because every time whenever you see that little Metroid egg is hatching, this means about the fact that there are quite a few forms of Metroids you have to deal with. So, yeah, that's something you need to classify for noticing this, of how pretty interesting territory we have to go through for the sake of this entire planet of SR388. So, that's saying something. So, we're also trying to deal with these little sand blocks section, as you can see right there with the wave beam, makes things a lot faster and quick, especially noticeable because that one actually helps you out throughout the majority of certain, you know what I mean, certain sections throughout, so I guess that's saying something. So, and there's another Alpha Metroid right here, so we can pretty much get out to take him down, like so. Easy and simple, and easily job done. So, yeah, that pretty much saying something. So, anyways though, jeez, I keep getting hit right there. And I get the feeling that we've only got one more Metroid left before we move on to the next phase. So, yeah, it seems it's gone all pretty quick and just pretty sparse at the same time. So now we need to go to the left right here so we can pretty much guarantee to see what's going to be coming up next. So, in this case though, after we try to deal with those tons of sand blocks here and there, and it looks like we stumbled across another Alpha Metroid after all. Oh, wait a second, it's evolving! So in this case, we now actually stumbled across ourselves Gamma Metroids, which appears to be more likely like a harder variation of Alpha Metroids, but basically the same deal, except now about the fact that the actual attack strength when it comes to that particular stuff is actually going to get a tad bit more stronger, so... Oh, no, wait, sorry, I think I somewhat miscalculated earlier. I accidentally did say we only got one more Metroid left before the next phase. It turns out I was literally miscalculated, so I do apologize for that. Especially because it's been about 5 days ago since we've actually last recorded this, because, well, after all, both Pinkie Pie and Pac-Man have already managed able to tackle through the third board in Mario Party Superstars recently from last weekend. So I bet that both of these characters are about to be moved on to the fourth board, pretty much, for this upcoming weekend. So, yeah, I guess that probably explains it, huh? So anyways, let's just go ahead and continue, and I get the strong sense of feeling that if we... Oh yeah, there's a... Oh, scratch that. There is another Gamma Metroid, so we can pretty much get to take him down again. So, but either way though, after we deal with this Gamma Metroid, well, assuming if my missile hit detection will work, and exponentially, well, if we get ourselves a good angle shots, there we go. That pretty much takes care of the forms of the rest of the Metroids in Phase 3. So now, that every time, you know, if we're done with certain sets of those Metroids, the screen starts to shake, meaning that the lava thing is slowing down. So this means we're now moved on to Phase 4. So, in some cases though, I think we only have to deal with like 10 Metroids left for Phase 4. So... yeah, we're getting quite close though, kind of thing about it. Although, suffice to say, I think we're pretty much almost at the halfway point in terms of Metroid 2 Return of Samus already. Although, sure enough though, that sometimes certain parts can go by very fast, but it's all depending on the forms of, well, you know what I mean, trying to memorize the forms of the entire map, and also on top of that, just knowing where to go, because again, until the future games in the series, Super Metroid, Metroid Fusion, and Metroid Zero Mission, and alongside with Metroid Other M, Metroid Prime, and, well, basically any other Metroid Prime games for this matter, in addition to, you know, Metroid Dread, then you do have the map function, so you can definitely know where to go. Whilst compared to the first game and the second game, that you don't have a map with you, so you have to get a massive guess around. So, unless if you look up on guides or anything else to be more specifically, that it could actually potentially help you out, alongside with the another game that somehow it doesn't have a map, which appears to be Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, because it involves around a different gameplay style. Although the core gameplay remains the same, but the actual objectives-wise is a little bit differently than a traditional linear style of gameplay from Castlevania 1 and before Castlevania 3 exist for the sake of Dracula's Curse. So, anyways, let's save our game here, and we can basically we're gonna have to able to backtrack for certain areas. So just in case there are certain areas that we can able to explore now. So I guess that's not much else to say for this point. So. Oh, and another thing too, is the fact that speaking of Mario Plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, that again, we're probably not going to talk about spoiler territory, because much like what I was supposed to say, much like what I say about the forms of Sonic Frontiers, please don't mention spoilers to me, because obviously that this is getting ridiculous now when it comes to likely, if someone got the game very, very early before we've got it, basically any other like quicker access to obviously already managed able to access to final boss battles without even letting the game comes out for reals. So it's like, that's a bit unnecessary, don't you think? Like, kind of think about it. It's a bit weird about the fact that back in 10 years ago, when well, you know what I mean, when Mario Party 9 was almost going to be approaching to its release, then specifically the North American version of that specific commercial did show up before the Americans got the release of the game. Basically though is the fact that they just somehow accidentally spoiled the forms of not only, by the sake of the forms of, well, certain mechanics or certain, you know, playable characters as far as I'm aware, but also they somehow spoiled the final boss battle before the game comes out for North America. And I was like, okay, that's a bit of a weird side of things, able to actually showing everything throughout, but who knows. But anyways though, so now we move on to the next area, so we might actually gonna have to be a little bit more explorative around here, so we can basically just guarantee for ourselves for this point. And, well, exponentially speaking though, is the fact that I was expecting to able to try to also mention about the forms of something related to Mario Plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, but again, I should probably save that until the next day, because, well, again, I'm not going to mention any spoilers, because obviously we don't able to mention about spoiler territory, so. But for the meantime, let's focus on the forms of another topic at this point, is that, well, alongside with Mario Plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, yeah, I keep on saying that, relatively speaking, until also in 2 days' time, specifically in the UK country as far as this is concerned, well, My Little Pony the movie 2017, that's obviously that movie will eventually become 5 years old until 2 days' time. So hopefully I'll try to able to, between me and Maxi have already mentioned about this several times already, or especially noticeable when Pac-Man and Pinkie Pie have both already mentioned about this a lot, for the sake of the forms of, well, let's just say between, you know, Mario Party Superstars and, you know, Super Mario 3D All-Stars, that basically we'll try to able to celebrate the film on either DVD or Blu-ray. Well, Blu-ray version might be the ordeal thing, because I don't know if they were able to actually feature the 4K version of it though, because, well, I haven't exactly researched upon the forms of so much potential when it comes to 4K Blu-ray releases for that for sake of time, so. But I digress, so let's go ahead and continue going forward, and exponentially we're able to just try to dodge these enemies coming from these little specific pit pools or something like that. I'm not exactly 100% sure what these hazards are meaning for, but I digress. Alright, so looks like we've almost there to certain areas as far as I'm aware. Oh yeah, something I would like to mention about this actually is the fact that, as far as I'm aware, what both Pinkie Pie and Pac-Man have already mentioned about this before, for the sake of the forms of, or let's just say in terms of the forms of Mario Party Superstars, is that, you remember that particular Japanese drum-like game that is called likely, I don't know what you would call it, because it's been a very long while since I actually known about that particular game title. But apparently though, or before I mention more about it, is the fact that, relatively speaking, apparently, the Pokemon Company apparently is not a fan of Nazolok, which I'm guessing it's like, it's hard to explain, but I do definitely heard about that name, but it's just the fact that I haven't exactly played that much of mainstream Pokemon titles. I do know spin-offs, but not so much the main game, sadly, because, wow, I just managed to try one of them, but then I just somehow give up playing on it, because I don't know most of my strategy here, you see, so... Anyways, here's the forms of a new item that is actually introduced in this game, and this appears to be the space jump. So, yeah, and what that does is the fact that if you somehow manage able to jump in midair, and then if you mash the actual the jump button in the correct consecutively timing, basically you would perform a continuous jumps. So, yeah, that's what I was thinking about anyway, because for that item, as far as I've already come across into in the last video, that's basically though, that remember that particular optional boss fight we've already just somehow deal with? I think so anyway though, that basically though is the fact that we managed able to obtain the ability to able to use the jump function on Morph Ball mode. So, yeah, that's what I was thinking about it anyway, because apparently, because, you know, that name doesn't tell us the actual, what specific power-up its name was, but I digress. So yeah, Space Jump is pretty useful, but at the same time though, it feels a bit too finicky in this game, because most of the time, I was expecting to able to actually just try to able to get continuous jumps on certain spots, but most of the time though, that the game just somehow feels a bit too fickle for me, especially because most of the time, I swear I did manage to able to try to press the jump button, but then you have to do it consecutively. So it's been like the triple spin move, which is basically it's like a poor man's version of the Death Tornado spin and a Crash Dash power up from both Crash 3. So because of that though, like you have to able to mash the square button consecutively, and it's just there's a lot to work with, I'm telling you. Like I definitely heard about that move, but you know, you get the idea about that. So here's another missile expansion right here. So just in case if you want to know where that is, and another safe spot, so that should be all good. And I see there's the actual Metroid's egg has been hatched, so we'll definitely have to find one of those specific Metroids that we'll definitely get out to kill and stuff, so everything else goes by. And oh yes, thank God I need more health pickups, because health pickups are pretty useful, especially because, well, I just don't want to get a game over, you know, so either way though, I guess that's kind of manageable, I guess. So, anyways, let's get rid of these little, guys right here, and before we, take on the next Metroid, here's the forms of, well, the, Spacer Beam. I think that's what it says anyway. So basically, the Spacer Beam is basically you able to, I would say you're able to shoot in a straight, oh wow, we're able to actually shoot 3 projectiles all at once. So that's actually pretty cool though. Although mind you about the fact that it might not be that as effective though, but we'll just see what happens in due time. But again, this is all new to me though, so at the very least though, we actually got ourselves a pretty cool, another, you know, laser beam. Kind of like power-up that we can use for, well, in certain situations as far as I'm usually concerned with. So, oh my god, what the heck? So apparently though, we actually come across into another Gamma Metroid right here. And I think this is definitely one of the trickiest Gamma Metroids to deal with, because, well, as far as you know, it's the fact that, relatively speaking though, it's just the fact that you get able to deal with a certain spots to aim for. But regardless of such though, it might not be that challenging though, but the only time it's a bit challenging though is of course the platforming segment. So yeah, that's the only hardest part. But anyway, let's just go ahead and deal with more hits on him. Hopefully he should be dead by then. Oh jeez. Come on, he's almost down. There he goes. Whew. That's a lot to work with, especially you have to deal with those tiny platforms to be able to navigate through. But regardless of such though, we have managed to done it anyway, so, oh what the heck? How come I just ended up down here, apparently, while at the same time get hit by the enemy in the process? There's another egg right here, so we can definitely know what's going to be up next. So anyways, let's go ahead and obtain another missile expansion, so that should be all good. And we'll just take down more enemies like these, and just trying to navigate through. Actually, before we continue our progressioning here. Let me double check on the far left, so just in case if there are certain spots I was missing. So, in some cases though, I think this is gonna be one of them, so yeah, it has to be. So in this case though, let's go ahead and deal with another Gamma Metroid, because obviously if you couldn't tell with that particular design. Now as far as after phase 4 though, I think until whenever we get to the next phase, I think there was clearly only one Metroid to deal with, but either way though, we'll have to wait and find out until whenever we get to that point. So anyway, so we've only got 24 left, so in this case though, we're actually getting pretty close, so without any sort of troubles at all. The only time is a little bit troublesome to me though, well, as you can tell, I'm almost low on health, so I definitely need to pick up some more health eventually. So anyways, here we have a plasma beam. So I believe the plasma beam, I'm guessing it's like a new type of beam weapon, I can assure to you. Mind you, it has been about quite a few months since we actually last played Metroid things, you know. But forgive me if I botched anything else for this point, because again, it's been a very long while. So anyway, so what it does is the fact that it just shoots one projectile beam, and it shoots it a little bit faster, so I guess that helps. But regardless of such though, that might be something worth noting for if able to mention about that stuff though, as far as I'm usually concerned with that stuff. And because I get the strong sense of feeling about the fact that I'm presuming that we've pretty much almost done with the forms of the majority of the Alpha Metroids almost, but we'll also have to wait and see what happens there, because obviously we still need to able to explore the majority of SR388, because trust me, this place is going to be quite huge in comparison to, well, let's just say both Brimstar and Norfair, and especially noticeable with Zebis or something like that. Well, again, it's been a couple of months since I actually last played Metroid, you know. Anyway, so let's just go ahead and use the Morph Ball jump ability, and we can essentially try to reach. Actually, no, wait. Let's just use the Spider Ball ability so we can able to progress. So, and I noticed there's another egg right here. And by the way, those lasers are very deadly, by the way. So you got to able to watch out for them, because otherwise, if you dare touch those lasers, though, then you're probably gonna die. Especially noticeable that it's bad enough that I've only got 5 units of health left, so I have to able to be a little bit more, oh, there's the, I would say an Alpha Metroid, so he will be easily be taken down, so much so, we can able to just, you know, send some more missiles at him, so there it goes. So hopefully we'll try to find the health pickup eventually though, so we can potentially try to able to just, oh, did I see something over there? Oh yes, there's the energy tank, so we'll definitely need to obtain that, especially noticeable because I'm almost about to die. So in this case though, we'll just go ahead and obtain it. And there we go, fully regenerated health plus more of the health extensions. So huzzah, and that'll be good to go. Although, because potentially speaking though, sometimes though is the fact that, you know, with the Gamma Metroids that we've already taken down with, sometimes though the damage output is a bit too, reckless at times. But, regardless of such though, if you deal with these guys okay enough, then you would able to do with it just fine, so. But anyway though, so let's just go ahead and continue things on, although we still need able to actually go through the gosh darn laser trap, but, hopefully we'll try to avoid those as much as we can, but hopefully we'll get the chance, so. Oh yeah, I should also mention about something is the fact that I think Phase 4 is, I'm not gonna lie, a pretty long phase to go through, because, well, as far as I'm aware, unlike the future phases we're gonna have to go through, I can assure to you it doesn't have that much Metroids to kill, but I think Phase 4 is definitely the longest of the bunch, so, because you have to explore quite a lot of areas, you know, but you know why, you know what I mean, until whenever we get to the later portions of the game, for specifically in the next few Tuesdays and Thursdays potentially, so because this game is going to be also pretty short, just like the original Metroid, except the fact that this is going to be on the Game Boy. But if we get into the Metroid Prime games on the other hand, in addition to Metroid Other M eventually, it'll be a lot more lengthier than ever before because, well, it's going to be a lot of story-driven kinds of games or something like that. So, alright, so let's just go ahead and backtrack for a little bit. So just in case if there are certain parts I was missing onto. Oh yeah, another thing I would like to explain is the fact that, I think, relatively speaking, is the fact that they might try to work on the forms of another Pokemon game in the future, to be more specifically, a sequel to Detective Pikachu, specifically Detective Pikachu 2. I'm really wondering about the fact that if that game will ever exist or something. Although, mind you, because on the 3DS game, usually it came out in 2018, unfortunately the sales numbers is actually very low for the sake of the forms of Detective Pikachu on the 3DS. But we shall see what happens in due time though. But for the time being though, we'll just go ahead and get ourselves another missile expansion right here, as you saw. So that's actually pretty good and pretty sparse throughout, but I honestly have no idea why I've mentioned something like this. But anyway, and also another thing too, that as far as you probably already know, that I haven't exactly mentioned that much of Mario Kart Tour recently. I have no idea why. Mind you, about the fact that both Pac-Man and Pinkie Pie have both already mentioned about that specific topic since Journey forms have been Mario Party Superstars, but it's just the fact that I'm just getting sick of the forms of the controls in the game now, especially because, well, it's just that drifting is so awkward to use, and especially noticeable, it's just not fun for me. But I digress. So let's just go ahead and save our game quickly. So I think we're now on 23 Metroids left, so we are getting close to the halfway point. Although, the only downside about the Plasma Beam, though, is the fact that, oh wait, yeah, it's the Plasma Beam. Basically, though, is the fact that you can only get rid of the, a very straight line of shots when it comes to the actual sand blocks, but that's the only drawback. But, regardless of such, though, it is good, but, I should probably mention more details about the forms of, certain details until for later. So, anyway, let's just go ahead and, go from here, and just trying to make sure we don't get hit sometimes, especially... Oh, seems like somehow we ended up on these little platforms right here, which it does remind me of something related to Mickey Mania almost. So we need to go for the specific holes here, specifically not from there, but we have to be able to break this rock, because I get the strong sense of feeling that we might get something rewarding from here. And you just want to make sure you don't able to get in contact with the actual... Oh gosh, we have to be fast on this, didn't we? Yep, it's all about the timing, so we have to be fast, so come on. There we go. Huh. Thankfully, it only took me 2 attempts, so... And from here, I think this is where we find another energy tank right over there. But here's the thing, though. We need to able to be sure we need to able to do... Oh god, we have to do a hardest method, aren't we? But thankfully, we somehow accomplished it, so there we go. So we've now reached up to 4 bars of energy tanks now, so yeah, we're actually getting almost feels like offense or something, but in addition to that, another missile expansion as we go. So either way though, feels like we've almost done with the forms of not only obtaining certain missile expansions, but also energy tanks as well. So yeah, it seems all pretty legitimate so far, which I honestly have no idea why I've mentioned something like this. Oh, speaking of Sonic Frontiers though, one thing I forgot to mention about, unfortunately though, some well, I don't know about you, about the fact that, well, I just have no idea, because it has been a very long while since I actually mentioned something related to Sonic Frontiers after all, because, well, I'm still looking forward to it still, but usually, relatively speaking though, it's just the fact that, well, it's a bit of a bummer though that most of those systems runs at 30 FPS, well, the only exception being PlayStation 5 and stuff like that. So anyways, here's another Gamma Metroid that we have to deal with. So in this case though, thankfully it's a bit easier than the forms of how it does it on the other Gamma Metroid that we have to deal with, because obviously with all that tight platforms you have to go through, but thankfully there's a flat surface without any hazards at all, so... there we go. So I think we've only got 6 more Metroids to go until Phase 4 will be concluded. So, yeah. But hopefully we are getting there, and especially we've only got 22 Metroids to go. So, yeah, pretty cool and awesome at the same time. So, anyways, let's place these bombs here, so just in case we'll try to escape on this section somehow. And yeah, there's gonna be, actually, if we try to able to use the space jump, then we can probably able to skip these parts, no problem. But again, it's just the fact that sometimes that I swear the space jump can feel a bit too fiddly for my taste in this game. But, it's just the fact that it might take some bit of time to get used to sometimes. But I digress. Oh yeah, and another thing too, that I suppose that both Pac-Man and Pinkie Pie have completely forgotten to mention about during the course of their Mario Party Superstars Let's Play, ever since in the 2nd of October. Happy 2nd year anniversary of the release of Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time, but I'll explain more details onto that until in the next video. So, yeah, with that being said though, folks, it's the fact that we got the endings off here, so join me next time for more Let's Play of Metroid 2, The Return of Samus. It's the fact that we're gonna have to able to kill 6 more of those Metroids until we eventually move on to the next phase, which appears to be Phase 5. So, we haven't got long now, so I'll see you guys until on Thursday. Later, fellas.